And we're back.
We are back again.
This is your favorite and only movie review podcast.
You do not have any other favorites.
Quiet in the back.
Shh.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Patrick William.
And I'm Austin Jenny.
Also the host.
Yeah. Implied. We just watched a stellar movie. I didn't even mean to.
Interstellar.
Interstellar in IMAX for the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, we watched it in theaters.
Yes.
That's very rare for us for this pod.
Yes, it's only our second time doing so, I believe.
We did Totoro and then this in IMAX.
Dude. Oh my god.
Oh, my ears are still recovering.
It was so loud. I feel old.
It was so loud. One notch lower would have been ideal.
Yeah, come on, AMC.
Get it together.
No, I mean, holy fuck, though.
Epic.
What an experience. I wouldn't want to see it really any other way.
I'll never watch it again.
I think you might be right. I mean, I don't know. It's just like...
I will, but...
in like 10 years, dude, I'm not...
It won't be the same.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'll come for the 20-year anniversary. We can see it in IMAX again.
Yeah.
But no, this is how that movie is meant to be experienced.
It's very epic. It's very cinematic.
Yeah.
I know that word is sort of vacuous these days, but it truly is. Like, Christopher Nolan
Just has
has directed it. It's just like, it's got that big energy to it. Like, everything is so powerful when it's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, from, the smallest things of just like him driving through that cornfield, chasing the drone, all the way to like falling into a black hole. Like it is big. It is in your face.
Everything feels high stakes at all times.
All the time.
It always has all this energy, this rushing, swirling energy with the music.
Not like in an uncomfortable anxiety type of way either. It's just high stakes. Humanity is on the line.
It feels like humanity is on the line with like every decision.
Yeah. Oh man, that airlock scene was that was so cool.
When Dr. Mann
is
fucking up the airlock.
Yeah, when he fucks up the airlock and then they match their rotation.
Oh,
speed.
and they're like, there's no sense in wasting the fuel. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, we're docking.
Yeah.
And the thing is spinning around, so they have to match the spin and get in there.
Dude, so cool.
That's why they needed him. He's the pilot.
He is the pilot.
Only he can do that.
Oh, yeah, dude, Dr. Mann tried, and he's a bitch. God, fuck Mark Wahlberg.
No, that's not Mark Wahlberg.
Who is that?
That's Matt Damon.
That's Matt Damon. Same white guy.
All white people look alike. You heard it here first. Yeah, Matt Damon's character. Oh,
man. Real hateable.
Really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, pretty much everyone else's character was all right, except for
a few small mistakes here and there, but nothing you can't forgive. It's just 23 years.
It's just 23 years, man. That's all.
Should we get into the overall premise and then run through the plot as quickly as we can?
Pretty much, yeah.
Premise. Earth is dying.
Yeah. Weird time. It's probably like 2080, some shit like that. Seems
it's
like
really vague. They give you nothing really to like lock down the time exactly.
Yeah, it seems that some sort of calamity happened where 6 billion people died, for one.
They said that?
Yeah. Remember he brought up 6 billion?
He was saying what the population was.
Oh.
He was saying there's 6 billion people and they're all trying to have it all. And Earth can't sustain that. It's like a carrying capacity thing.
Oh, I thought he meant...
The irony is we have more than 6 billion people right now.
Yes.
So I don't know what the Nolan brothers were thinking when they wrote that. I think there was at least more than 6 billion people in 2014.
There was definitely.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why they...
Yeah, I feel like...
number.
I feel like I thought that something happened. Huh.
Well, maybe something happened.
Yeah.
But I do not think they were implying that 6 billion people died.
Okay.
I think that doctor was saying, there's too many people because essentially what is the setting is an environmental collapse has occurred.
Yeah, soil degradation has reached its climax pretty much.
We've got extinct crops, and every year more crops fail.
Yeah, wheat is extinct.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucking crazy.
In the year that the movie starts, okra has just failed and gone extinct. There's like just
There's corn.
there's just a random disease that they never get into deeply called blight. They just call it blight.
Yeah.
And it is growing and expanding faster than humans can like beat it back, and it's changing the air composition.
Yeah, they say that the air is 80% nitrogen at one point.
And the more blight there is, like it increases the nitrogen because it feeds off of it or something like that.
Yeah.
Point is that Earth is becoming toxic and crops are failing, and so the population is very low right now. The governments are basically at a bare minimum. They're allocating their resources. They're stretched as thin as possible.
Yeah, they're just trying to literally survive and create farmers. That's what we're back to essentially, but with a bit of modern technology.
Our main character was an engineer, and at one point he's arguing for his son to be able to go to college, but his son doesn't have the scores to go to college, and the government is like deciding he's a farmer.
Yeah,
and he's like, they're like, we know you're an engineer, you're very smart, but the world does not need more engineers. Yeah. We didn't run out of TVs and computers. We ran out of food.
Yeah.
We need farmers.
We need farmers.
You are programmed.
Yeah, I know. That's fucked.
Welcome to capitalism.
Jeez. Okay.
This is what gets us there.
I know. No shit.
Because we need farmers. We've got a dying Earth, essentially.
Yeah, it is rough. I mean, there are constant dust wind, like just the amount of how much I assume all of the droughts have affected the ground, that there's just dust blowing anywhere that they can grow food. So the Dust Bowl, which is where I assume they are around.
Yeah, and there was maybe a war, but also maybe just like a tapering off of population due to starvation. But at any rate, at one point they find like a rogue Indian surveillance drone.
Yeah, that's just been flying for 20 years.
Yeah, he says that it's fully solar powered and it's been autonomously flying, doing its pre-programmed research routes. And they like hack it and down it.
Yeah.
And scrap it for parts. So this is a world where like the Indian government was flying like surveillance drones in America.
Yeah, which is like, you can imagine what could have possibly caused that.
Yeah, take all of this World War III talk, imagine that it plays out in your head, and then you're like 30 years after that, right?
Yeah.
So I always pictured that this was sometime in like the 2050s or 2060s maybe.
Okay, that seems feasible. Yeah,
2080s is just as realistic. It's definitely, I think, before 21.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's sometime in the next few decades.
Yeah.
And yeah, the daughter is scientifically curious.
Yep,
Murphy's Law, Murphy. She is like doing bad in school, but that's only because the school is wrong, not her.
Yeah, for sure.
She's actually learning from her dad's science books, which the government has outlawed and changed the narrative to get people's heads away from
exploration or anything scientific.
Things that they think are not an efficient allocation of resources.
Yeah. So like the moon landing is fake in his daughter's school.
They don't want people thinking about going to the moon or going to the stars. They want people learning how to farm. So yes, she's not doing well in school because she's learning from her dad, who's telling her like real information about science.
Yeah. Which is, man, that's a bummer. So that's what it would just turn to that too, for sure.
For sure. I buy it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I like fully believe this world that the Nolans have created.
Yeah.
It seems believable. It seems like realistic.
And it seems like they really did their research in every single capacity, and I'm sure that is what is predicted to happen. I know that our soil is not going to last that much longer. Yeah. That alone, without even crop blight.
And maybe their numbers were a little weird for some reason, but the billions of people that we have is definitely above the carrying capacity for Earth, and we don't have the long-term ability to like feed ourselves. And so it's like gonna happen.
Yeah.
One way or another, at least something like this.
At least with basic farming techniques that we have and stuff. Unless there's some huge breakthroughs in the way we grow food and can produce. Yeah. Yeah, there will be starvation wars and water wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrifying.
And those wars may have already happened in this universe. I think the Nolans are intentionally vague about the past. They just want you sort of here in this present moment.
Yeah.
But we're in an essentially Great Depression Dust Bowl era.
Yeah.
Imagine like the 1920s Dust Bowl of America, but with space age technology. Like that's what we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe even a little bit further in some capacities.
Yeah. What happens next is the daughter is claiming there's a ghost in her room.
Yeah.
And the books are being pushed off of her bookshelf.
Yeah, and it's like clear that she's not doing it, you know?
Yeah, and no one in the family is really doubting that the books are coming off the bookshelf. Like they all agree that something's happening, but they're scientists. They want to research it. They don't want to jump to conclusions, but she's more comfortable saying it's a ghost.
Yeah.
And they suffer from another dust bowl, like a huge windstorm.
Really bad one, yeah.
She accidentally left her window open and dust gets into her room. And as he's closing the door, he starts to see like through the side angle light.
Yeah.
There's like this weird pattern in the falling dust.
Yeah, like literally, I mean, there's just like you see a full screen of dust and some of it is moving down in straight lines where others is not. It is very interesting.
It's like striations.
Yeah.
And it's piling up in lines on the floor. There's like a density pattern.
Yeah.
And they realize that it's some sort of code and that the gravity of the room was like warped.
Yeah.
And it's providing a message. And they translate it into binary code.
Yeah. Binary code.
And the binary, when they break it down, are coordinates, which they then follow.
Yeah. To like just like deep into the woods and this like kind of ominous place, but
they drive all day.
Yeah, it's like all day and night
into the night.
They finally get there, and it's just like this gated fence or a fence with a gate on it, and right in the top corner it says NORAD, and that's like a first little clue, honestly.
Yeah, they get the bolt cutters. It looks abandoned.
Yeah,
it's very dark. They try to cut the gate, and then a floodlight hits them, and a guard is like, "Stop!" and tases the dad.
Yeah, immediately,
and goes and gets the little girl, and he wakes up, and they're inside of the NASA facility.
Yeah.
They don't know that at first, but that's quickly revealed to them that this is a secret NASA project.
Yeah.
Because the government publicly disbanded NASA and then secretly brought it back online.
Yeah.
Because they need to get off of Earth.
Yeah, they got to figure out a way. They think it's hopeless.
Yeah. And after this doctor is done explaining to him all the things that they know, you realize and sort of agree as a viewer, you're like, oh, yeah. It is hopeless.
It is, yeah. Everyone's going to just suffocate and die.
The math on this is not working out.
No.
There's no real hope for sustaining humanity on Earth past, I think, maybe 2 more generations is what he says.
Yeah. He said just like his
said your daughter will be the last generation to...
Yeah, it's like that's...
to be on Earth.
Yeah.
So they've got maybe 75 years.
Before they suffocate.
Yeah. So like full death.
Yeah.
So here's the plan. We need to get off Earth and find a new place to live.
Yeah. So they sent out 12 missions, the Lazarus Project.
Why?
Because... Wait, why? Because there's wormholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a fucking wormhole.
Yeah. Well, there's multiple wormholes, isn't there?
No, there's one.
Oh, just one?
It's outside of
12
Saturn.
Different
Yeah, it goes to 12 places, but it just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess that's never really explained, is it?
Well, if you buy the time travel conclusion, it's explained. It's just, I don't buy it.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
But it's explained. Basically, a wormhole pops up 48 years ago. The exact timing matched with when their crops all started failing. And basically, once Earth starts failing, a wormhole pops up behind Saturn, and NASA finds it, and they send 12 ships into it.
Yeah.
Because it goes to 12 locations.
I went right that's right when I went to the bathroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like right when they were talking about that in the NASA facility.
Yeah.
That checks out.
So that's the premise of the wormhole. It goes to what they have realized are 12 potentially viable new like habitats
new
for
planets,
humanity.
exoplanets. So yeah.
Yeah. They sent 12 astronauts and 12 ships, And the goal is for them to go survey the planets, send a message back if it's good.
Yep.
If it's not, you're dead there.
Yeah.
There's no coming back.
Yeah.
And they've gotten 3 messages back.
All from like pretty close together as far as it goes. Once you travel through the wormhole, it seems like it's like something you can go check all 3 of them.
They're all in the same system, they say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All in the same sun.
Which is crazy.
Is it even orbiting a sun?
Well, there is a star, I think, because there's light, but the star is also orbiting, the whole system is orbiting a black hole.
That black hole. Okay. Gotcha.
Which they call gargantuan.
Yeah.
Gargantua.
Yeah.
It's a giant black hole. They actually say that it's a quite slow, stable black hole.
Yeah. Gentle.
A gentle slope.
Yeah.
So it's not like rapidly sucking everything in at a pace that would be like alarming.
Yeah.
It's going to be some millions of years.
Yeah, which is, in human terms.
That's fine.
Plenty of time.
But there's 3 planets and they need to check them out. So our main character, the father, what was his name? I'm like so bad. Cooper. I'm always so bad with, that's his last name.
Yeah, that's all they call him though.
Yeah. I'm always so bad with names in movies. I just call him like the dad, the daughter.
Yeah. Well, it's hard unless it's said a million times. And even then,
The mission is to send Cooper and a small team of scientists, I think 3 other scientists, and their robot TARS,
Yeah.
which is an awesome bot,
Definitely.
into the wormhole and then into the galaxy where they've got messages from, and to go check in on those 3 planets.
Yeah.
Hopefully one of them works.
Yeah. And then they're told that they're supposed to come back if they find a good one. And by then, the professor will have solved the problem of gravity.
Yeah, they have a gigantic like colony ship that they're building. It's like essentially the whole NASA facility is potentially a ship.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
But they can't get enough force to like lift it up.
Yeah.
Without solving this equation. And it's like they just keep calling it the equation of gravity.
Yeah, just to be able to manipulate gravity.
Yeah, they need to not rely on modern techniques and fuels. They need to somehow like manipulate gravity to move an entire colony facility through space.
Yeah.
And yeah, should we just get to the reality of that?
Yeah, I'd say.
So the lead scientist who like sends Cooper on this mission and is trying to crack the code of gravity, he has been lying the whole time.
Yes.
Because he knows that if they know the truth, no one will actually do the mission.
Yeah.
So he gives them a false hope by saying he's working on gravity. The truth is he solved the equation like 40 years ago.
Yeah, like before they even left. Like way before.
And he knows it's never going to work. So it's always been plan B.
And so plan B is a population bomb. Just like a ton of human genome and 5,000 fertilized eggs.
Yeah.
And you send that to a habitable planet and have the first 10 people incubate automatically and then keep going.
Yeah. So Cooper and his 3 scientists would raise 10 people.
Yeah.
Those 10 people would raise 100, and those 100 raise the next 1,000. And so it's a multi-generational genetics bomb.
Yeah.
We go seed a planet, and a few generations from now, you have a viable population for just living.
I think that's how Earth was created.
Could be. That is the lead NASA scientist's plan A.
Yeah, that's his real plan A.
It's what he says is plan B, and he lies about this fake plan A, getting the whole colony ship. So let's go into the wormhole, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, where to even start? The visuals on this part are so good.
It's crazy.
It's so awesome.
It's very warpy.
Yeah.
It's like a sphere shape, but of course it's also like a tunnel.
Yeah, it's like a tunnel and a sphere and a mirror, and you can see through it kind of, and you can't tell what's a reflection and what's if those galaxies are inside of it. Yeah, it's so cool.
They sort of approach it like you would a planet, like a sphere, but then as they get closer and closer, circling it, they start to go into it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a tunnel.
It's so cool. Like,
and things start warping around.
dude, space at one point, like right before he breaches into it, is coming so fast this way and so fast that way. Oh, it looked awesome.
Yeah. And then the woman sitting next to him, her hand is like waving.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like
because there's
creating
something
spatial interference.
There's something reaching through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they say in the moment, they're like, space-time is bending and warping around us, and you see her hand like actually like moving like this.
Yeah,
and
it's
shit.
like her fingers are all fucking
It's crazy.
Yeah.
They get in
They do.
and
It's fucking crazy in there, man.
they're closest to this first planet,
Mm-hmm.
which they want to check out first,
Yeah.
but they have a dilemma because this planet is closest to Gargantua, the black hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's closer than the other two. And the problem that they face immediately is that if they get close enough to the planet to survey it and land on it and check it out,
Yeah.
they are close enough to Gargantua that they're going to experience some very severe time dilation.
Yeah, 1 hour of their time will equal 7 years passing on Earth.
So if they go there for an hour, they come back. His daughter is now 7 years older, and he really wants to go back to his daughter.
Yeah, dude. That's just 7 years. It's like, that's a whole personality shift, everything.
We kind of blew past it, but there's some very good family like building in the first act of this movie.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Like the love that you feel between these characters, the son and the dad, the daughter and the dad,
Yeah,
the grandfather.
it's potent.
They really do the work to build these relationships so
Yes.
that the stakes are very high.
Yes, you really care about him getting back to his kids.
And they are torn up when he goes. There's this scene where he gives his daughter a watch and they set him to the same time. And he's talking about how maybe there's with time dilation, I could come back and we'd be the same age. And she's like, not
What?
soothed by that.
No.
She's like, you don't even know when you're going to come back, and throws the watch. So the kids are accepting that they might never see their father again.
Yeah, well, kind of accepting, but understanding.
They're crying,
Yeah.
but they're realizing the truth. And now he's facing a situation where that time dilation is a serious possibility.
Yeah.
And so they really want to minimize their time on this planet.
Yeah, as fast as humanly possible.
But if they go to the other two planets first, they're going to burn a lot more fuel,
Yeah.
which is an equally valuable resource. So they have fuel and time. They decide that there's like a sweet spot.
Yeah, trying to balance it.
If they go around the outside, they'll burn a little more fuel, but then they can approach the planet from the far side and experience less time dilation. So they're balancing some time and some fuel instead of doing all one, all the other. They get down there. It's a water planet.
Yeah, and it's like so strange too, because it seems to be only like, a few inches.
Yeah, they get down. The whole planet is ocean, right? It's just vast.
Vast.
But then they land
Yeah.
on solid ground.
Yeah, it's like this far.
In like a foot of standing water, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's like this giant wave in the distance that.
Well, you don't even see it as a wave at first.
They think
even
it's mountains.
Yeah, it looks like mountains, like way off in the distance.
But they're just like searching the area because they're looking for a beacon because they're there to collect data and find the other astronaut. They're starting to find like debris of a beacon.
Yeah.
There's a crashed component of it.
Yeah.
It's scrapped.
From actually the beginning, you can actually see the two little red dots out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that right away.
So immediately they know something's wrong with the scientists that they sent there. The ship is broken up.
Yeah.
And then they start to piece it together that like those aren't mountains in the distance. That's a giant wave of water.
Yep. Like, how would you put that into reference?
Well, it's very far away. The second wave is the one that's going to make a problem for them.
Yeah.
They realize it's a wave, but it's moving away from them. And then they look behind, and there's a wave coming to them.
It's like a mile away, if that, going so fast.
It's probably like a mile high as well.
Yeah.
It's like a mountain of water just coming towards you.
Yeah. Like if you're standing at the base of it, you would have no other frame of reference. You would just look up and only see water.
Yes. It's like an actual mountain
Yes.
of water.
Yes, it's insane.
And the woman there is like not understanding the severity of the situation fully
Yeah. Well, she doesn't even see it at first,
because she's too locked in on getting the beacon. She's like wrestling with the debris.
Yeah.
And Cooper's yelling over the comms. He's like, get back to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that if that wave hits them, they're screwed.
Pretty much toast.
And she doesn't realize. He sends Tars to go get her.
Mm-hmm. Love that sequence too.
Yeah,
Super
Tars
cool.
it has like 4 limbs kind of that can assemble into a flat plane.
Yeah, and then they can all break down in different shapes as well.
They can rotate.
Yeah.
So he's like becomes like a rotating cog and like wheels over there very quickly.
Super neat.
He picks her up and brings her back. But as they're getting in, they almost don't make it, and the male scientist like gets trapped outside the airlock.
Yeah, it gets swept away.
And then the ship doesn't blast off in time, and they actually get swept up in the wave.
Flood the engines.
It crests, like they go over the crests all the way up, and then like surf down the backside.
It's
so
crazy.
Yeah, it's really not good for their ship, and they apparently are down for the count for like, I think for the math we did, approximately 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 1/3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think they were planning on trying to just be there for like an hour. And
max.
Yeah,
like
max.
20 minutes probably.
And then,
out.
once it took like an hour 45, I think is what they said for the engines to
Yeah, and that's just the engines.
Yeah.
Because when they get back up to the ship, the scientist they left behind, he says to them that it's been 23 years.
Yeah.
Which it's 7 years per hour, which means that it's at least 3 hours that they spent down there with their engines flooded.
They also could have just calculated it a little wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
But yeah, they get back there and their friend and scientist partner is like significantly older.
Yeah, it's gray hair and like
he's like, it's been years.
Yeah, he did not believe they were.
He's
coming
telling
back.
them that like he's been into cryosleep like multiple times, but then he keeps like backing out because he realized that like he's wasting. They might never make it, and he's wasting his life away in cryosleep.
Yeah.
So he spent years just researching the gravitational effects of the black hole.
But he can't even learn anything without seeing inside of it.
Yeah, nothing comes out. So he's just been doing research for like maybe a decade.
Yeah.
Alone?
Probably. Yeah, probably slept for like 10 years.
It's crazy.
Dude.
And they get out and they realize like, okay, not only did we just lose one of our 4 core members.
Yeah.
But my daughter's probably like 40 now.
Yep.
Because I would guess she was about 13 or
yeah,
something like that, maybe
Yeah.
12. So she'd be about in her 30s,
Mm-hmm.
which is a crazy experience for a parent.
I mean, that's
He's losing so much time
yeah, absolutely.
with his family. He gets to the ship and there's all these like messages.
That's such a heartbreaking scene, man.
Matthew McConaughey was so good in that scene.
Dude, that first like laugh that turns into a cry. Oh,
He gets the first message from his son.
yeah, still young.
And he's like so overjoyed to see him, and then it starts dawning on him like how much time has passed. He gets to like the 3rd, 4th message. There's a
Son's getting
huge
older.
gap,
Yeah,
and he's like, "Sorry, it's been a while, Dad." He's got a kid, a wife.
yeah,
He's like, my wife says I need to get realistic with the fact that you're not coming back and let go.
Well, also, his kid died.
Yeah,
Presumably from just the dust and the health of the world.
yeah. One of his 2 kids.
Yeah.
Has died, and so things aren't going good on Earth, and he says this will be my last message. And dude, Matt McConaughey, like the emotion coming through his face is so palpable. It's so good.
He is one of my favorite actors, if not perhaps my favorite. Between this and True Detective, it's just like
He's so good.
he's just so fucking talented. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like the guy too. I like listening to him.
All right.
Yeah, you should read his book.
Ah,
Yeah,
can I watch his book?
you can listen to his book and he reads it. What do you
Does
mean?
he narrate the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm on board. But yeah, that scene was so good, man. And
Insane.
just want to say, like, the acting across the board, phenomenal. The directing style of Christopher Nolan is just like so cool. Visually, like, stunning.
Seriously.
The way they set the shots up, especially with, like, the scale and the spaciousness of
Absolutely,
seeing
man.
Saturn for the first time and seeing the tiny ship go in front of it.
And just like certain views of the rings and that sort of thing, man. Oh,
It's awesome.
ridiculous.
So the first planet's a bust.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost 23 years.
And a crew member.
And some fuel.
Yeah.
More fuel than they planned on because they didn't plan on being there for 23 years.
Yeah. No shit.
Planned on being there for...
Sounds like a lot of...
It's a lot of fuel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 5 or 6 years or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to now have to decide between which of the next 2 planets to go to.
Yeah.
Because they might not have fuel to do both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's important to get too into it. They have an argument.
Mm-hmm.
The woman there wants to go to one planet because she has an emotional connection to the scientist that's there.
Yeah.
The 2 guys want to go to the other planet because objectively the data seems better.
Yeah, definitely.
And they kind of override her. They take a vote.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has to say, like, okay, that was very objective of you.
Yeah.
Now I hope that you're ready when, like, whatever we learn here, to make the decision between going home or saving and seeing your daughter or saving all of humanity.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be very objective about it.
Yeah. And the fucked up thing is she just totally was right.
Yeah, she was right, but that no one knows that.
No, of course.
And she wasn't right for the right reasons. She was right by accident.
Yep.
Her reasoning was flawed.
Yeah.
And their reasoning was probably objectively more measured.
Mm-hmm.
But she is right about the essential dilemma that all of humanity faces.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make choices between what you think is objectively right and what you value more.
Yeah.
And our values do get in the way of our...
Way easier to follow your values.
Yeah.
Like, way easier.
She has this whole speech about how love is the only thing, the only force that we can observe that can, like, interact, like, beyond space and time and gravity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool speech. I'm not sure I, like, fully, like, grasp what she was trying to communicate.
Me too.
It's just sort of like a love matters speech.
Yeah.
Trademark.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a cool, impassioned speech.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the core values of the movie, I'd say.
Absolutely. I feel like I didn't get as much from that performance from her just because of how much Matthew McConaughey stole the show. Like,
Sure,
I just didn't feel her emotion was coming as much as through for me personally.
Matthew McConaughey puts forward a very big performance in this movie.
Yeah. I guess hers was probably a little more subtle.
Yeah, it is. Because they're just different characters, and I think she played it the way it should have been played. But when it's coming on the heels of, like, his sobbing, watching the kids' messages and stuff, and the weeping, and it just, like, sucks all the oxygen out of the room.
I think that's what happened for me too.
Yeah.
Or at least just for me. But yeah.
I was going to wait till later, but this feels like the right time to say it. If I did have, like, one critique of a movie like this, it's that, like, the bigness that Christopher Nolan goes for.
Yeah.
The music is always as epic as possible.
Yeah, it is.
The scenes are always as big and like cinematic, for lack of a better word, as possible. The performances are as dramatic and emotional as possible. You swing that big, and sometimes it's like, I felt a little overloaded, and it actually takes you out of the movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Not often did it happen, but I feel that.
Just a few times, and it left me in some of those scenes sort of like breaking my suspension of disbelief, remembering that I'm watching a movie.
Yep.
So I don't really think that it's the best way to always direct your movie.
Yeah.
But Christopher Nolan loves it. It's his thing. But I would say that it's a weak point, actually, for Nolan, personally speaking.
At least specifically for this movie. I would agree with that, too.
Yeah. You take a movie like Pig, for example. I think as different as Matt McConaughey is, in this movie from Nicolas and Pig,
Yeah.
I might say that like a performance like Nicolas Cage's is like a touch better.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just so acting with a capital A.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just, I guess at the end of the day, it is a taste thing.
True. I mean, this is all so entirely.
But I do think
us.
there's also like a functionality of how you do these things. And like I said, like for me personally, it took me out of the movie actually.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it like failed its mission.
Yeah. Specifically, Matthew's performance in that sense.
Not in that scene actually,
Okay.
but in some of them.
Yeah.
And mostly it's actually the combination of like long building moments with epic music, and they're like cutting between these two moments. That was one. And Nolan is like dragging these moments out. He's sort of like milking them.
He definitely was, for sure. I mean, of course,
He just doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He's just like really swinging big.
Yeah.
And it's just small things like that. They take a movie from a 10 to a 9.
Yep.
And then other things take it from a 9 to an 8.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
I have problems with time loops.
Yeah, I forgot.
We can talk about that after we get through the plot.
Yeah. Let's get through it. 'Cause I want to hear. I don't know your feelings on it.
So they go to the second planet.
Yep, they do, and they meet Mr. McFuckman.
Played by Matt Damon.
Yeah, played by fucking Matt, whatever,
Mark
white
Ruffalo.
boy. Yeah.
All white boys are the same. He is in cryosleep,
Yeah,
but he's established like a camp. There's a flag and a little dome bubble.
in this horrible ice-ridden world.
Yeah, the clouds are frozen. Like,
Yeah.
the clouds are like semi-solid.
Yeah, which is
They're like bumping into them with the ship. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
that was super crazy.
Yeah.
Actually,
The whole planet is ice, which does mean there's water.
yeah, sure.
So technically, it's got some of the building blocks for life. So he sends the message that they should come to this planet.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lie.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's the worst.
The truth is, he's a coward. He's been alone. He knows that the planet's not habitable. And he just wants to go home.
Yeah.
So he lies. He sends a signal that they should come to the planet to survey it and check him out. And his whole plan is to hijack the mothership. So they have like a big ship for deep space travel.
Yeah.
And then like a smaller trip for going to planets and back.
Yeah, like a little series of a couple of those, but yeah.
So his plan is for them to come down to him and then him to go up to the main ship and steal
Take it. Yeah, take it back to Earth.
And yeah, there's like moments of optimism here where he's lying to them. He's showing them fake data.
Yeah, I'm telling them there's a surface.
And there's like an oxygen that's breathable lower down.
Yeah. So are they on? They're on clouds,
It's just really hard to.
right?
They never say the reality of what's happening because everything he tells them is a lie.
Yeah, you're right.
You
Super
don't
interesting.
know from the information you're given
Yeah.
what the planet is like beyond what you see, which is
Yeah.
just the perimeter of their camp, but it's all ice.
Yeah, it's all
And
ice.
it's
It's
clearly like the scale of it is huge. There's a giant ravine.
yeah, giant ravine into nothing, and also like you're always up on these like, I don't know, like almost bridges where
It's
it's,
like rolling highlands of
yeah,
ice.
and you can like there's like there'll be holes where you can see down lower. There's more of those.
Yeah.
It's super crazy.
It's hard to tell if it's just like one giant ice crystal structure or if there's like an oceanic core of like liquid water.
Yeah, that's like warm or
Right.
something. I mean, yeah, who knows?
You just don't know because the guy is a liar.
Yeah,
And they don't have time to figure that out for real. They just like get betrayed.
Yep, pretty
He like
quickly.
shatters Matt McConaughey's like space mask and steals his transmitter and then goes back to presumably go like do the same thing to the rest of the crew. He's sabotaged his own robot system. He had some flimsy excuse about needing its core components and its battery.
It's bullshit. It's a
The-
bomb.
The truth was, yeah, he didn't want the robot to reveal the truth to anyone who comes here, so he shut it down. B, he rigged it to self-detonate
With a human's touch.
if someone activates it. So, yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yep. Kills Woodford or Wilfred, one of the two.
Yeah, the aged scientist who spent 23 years researching a black hole.
Yeah.
Dies at the hands of this scumbag.
Then he steals a ship and tries to go to the Endurance, which is like the big ship up in
Their big boy ship.
Yeah, in orbit.
He gets into his ship and goes up first. They get into theirs and follow him, but he's closer. And he tries to initiate a docking sequence.
Yeah.
But TARS overrided the ability for his ship to do that.
Yeah, with autopilot. He has to
autopiloting.
manually do it.
And he's not good enough to manually do it. He doesn't know the procedures.
He's not Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. We're docking.
We're docking.
Epic. See, that's a moment that I don't have a problem with. That was just awesome.
Just awesome.
That whole scene, I was riveted. I was in it.
I know.
Sometimes it works. It's just when it's all the time, it gets a little fatiguing. Mm-hmm. But he fails to dock. And
he's really close. It's right there, but it's not actually latching.
Right. He's up against the ship. It's circled in on the dock, but the latches are not getting it. So it's not airtight.
Yeah.
And when he opens it, it's going to suck all the air out of his ship and basically implode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, that's exactly what happens. It happens mid-sentence as he's telling them. He's like, sorry, guys, I've got to do this for all of humanity. You'll understand. He's in the middle of that sentence.
Yep. And literally it's gone.
Becomes dust.
Yeah, instantly.
And then
it destroys part of the ship.
Yeah,
too,
and the ship is now spinning and accelerating away from them. So they have to chase
fast.
it.
And downwards towards the planet.
Yeah, into the gravity of the planet. So they have to chase it down, match its rotation.
Yeah.
And then dock into it and then counteract that rotation and escape gravity.
Go up. Yeah.
It's wild.
What a good scene, dude.
It's a really awesome scene.
Yeah. So that's just 100% CGI, right?
Yeah, not the interior shots.
Not the interior, of course.
All the ship stuff.
All the ship stuff. Sure. That's just so fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, right?
It is. It's hard to picture.
Yeah. I mean, I do know Nolan is really into using giant advanced technology sets. For Inception, they had an entire room, an entire hallway on essentially a giant gimbal, a 5-directional axis, and they filmed it inside of it, and it was moving, and the actors were actually moving in the room. That's how they did those wall running scenes.
Yeah.
That was actually practical effects, not CGI.
Sick.
So he has big budget Hollywood technology, massive set pieces that are on gimbals. So they could have actually built those ships and spun them around and stuff in a giant room that was surrounded by green screen or something like that.
I mean, they wouldn't even have to make it that big either, if they made it literally this big.
It's just a room that needs to fit 3 humans.
Yeah.
But you got to film the exterior stuff too,
Yeah.
spinning around in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
Either it was all CGI or they did something massive like that. I wouldn't count either out.
Crazy.
Yeah. If you know how they did it, leave it in the comments for us. We need to know. We won't research it ourselves.
No, I don't understand that sort of thing. I don't know how to use Google. I asked ChatGPT.
But they make it. They gain control of the ship, and they come to the determination that they have to put their robot TARS into the black hole.
Yes.
And hope that he can transmit data right up to the edge or maybe even right past it or something.
To get anything. Anything that will solve the quantum side of their...
They know they can't finish their mission without the data that they need from inside the black hole. I forget the exact explanation for why that was, but that's what they conclude.
Yeah, I probably can't explain it right anyways.
It's all science-y and stuff, but they need data. The scientist that died in the previous scene was the one who explains to them that without that data, we'll never figure out the missing component to the gravity equation.
Yeah, they just couldn't understand what singularity was actually doing inside of a black hole.
Yeah, and I think it's yes, you can do plan B, get the seed bomb, but my daughter and son die. And he really wants plan A to work. So
yeah,
the sake of his relationship with his kids, they need to go in the black hole. And the plan is to they don't have enough fuel to make it to the third planet, so they're going to slingshot off the gravity of the black hole.
Yep.
Whip themselves towards the planet and drop TARS at the bottom of that slingshot to gain more momentum.
Yeah, use the 2 extra ships that they have connected to the Endurance to fire their boosters off right at the perfect time and lift them off of the slingshot.
So they go in, they do that, they drop TARS, and then at the last second...
Yeah, you hear ship 2 ready to disengage.
And the woman looks over and she's like, wait, no, we didn't talk about this. And he's like, you gotta, in order to move forward, you gotta leave something behind, like Newton's laws. And like she's like, we didn't talk about this. He's like, honesty, 90%. There's like this whole callback to like the TARS system only got a pre-approved for 90% honesty. 100% humor.
100% humor is too much.
He's like, let's dial that humor level to 75%.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to blow you all out of the airlock.
It's like, great, we're with a sarcastic robot. But sort of the final twist is that Matt McConaughey also drops himself into the black hole with TARS.
Yes.
And only the woman escapes and makes it to the third planet.
Yes, and then somehow you reach like almost the climax and conclusion of this movie at the same time. Like, it's super interesting.
We go into the black hole. It's real trippy. It gets dark. It gets cold. It gets loud.
Yeah, there's like particles. It looks like dust, which is
interesting.
interesting.
The ship is like breaking apart.
Yeah.
And then he ejects from the ship and it gets real calm and quiet. And it like assembles into some sort of like tesseract.
Yeah, that's what they called it. It was a
five-dimensional shape.
Yeah.
And essentially it's like a structure assembled by higher dimensional beings that allows you to navigate time as a 3-dimensional like space.
Yes. And for him, it's just one memory.
Right.
Kind of.
It's like
one experience, one viewpoint into their world.
Yeah, I think what it literally is it's one space. It's his daughter's bedroom at all moments.
Yeah, so in a 4th and 5th dimension.
Yeah.
Her daughter's bedroom in a 4th and 5th dimension. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So he can see the past moments of the daughter's bedroom. And this is where you realize that the ghost knocking the books off of her shelf was him.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah.
And he's knocking books off to send messages, right? First, he's like desperate. He types out stay.
And then you get that callback of stay. Being
She's like, it's telling you to stay. Don't go, Dad. Then you get the coordinates to NASA.
Yep. So that
he can go.
That. Yeah.
And that actually happened before stay. So he's doing these out of order.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's undoing his own work.
Yeah.
As he realizes the necessity of his mission. Then he's going into the future, like 23 something years. His daughter's an adult revisiting the house, looking for clues. And he's plugging in the solution to like it's like the coordinates.
It's like the quantum data essentially of that TARS picked up as soon as he came in and analyzed the singularity.
Right. So it's information you can only get from the inside of a black hole. He's now using gravity waves to like transmit this data from inside a black hole back in time into the second hand of a watch.
Yeah, through binary or Morse.
In Morse or binary. Yeah, I think it's Morse.
Yeah, for that one.
And then she is able to write all of this over a series of hours or days on paper. And she has a eureka moment. She throws the paper.
Eureka!
She's like, it's traditional. We do this. She throws them. She's like, eureka! And they figure out how to get at like which planet to go to stabilize like Earth's or like human future.
Yeah.
And they like build a bunch of bases. They finish the ship, and they basically like save humanity.
Yeah, totally.
That's the idea. And then somehow they also recover Matt McConaughey's body.
Yeah. So I take it that just the 5th dimensional beings just decided to be really cool.
They spit him out.
They spit him out right next to Saturn.
Yeah.
That's where they pop him out, as well as TARS. which is sweet.
Yeah.
Care about the robot.
So it's a very heartwarming ending where the dad is the ghost who's creating the impetus to send the dad in to become the ghost.
Yeah.
So you've got this like circular thing that has its own problems. And then during that whole sequence, he's also explaining to Tars that he's realizing that these beings that put the wormhole there and that built this tesseract for them is just humans in the future after humans become like a type 3 civilization, like fifth dimensional transcendent beings.
Yeah.
Maybe it's thousands of years in the future. Maybe it's
so.
millions.
I think it's probably either millions or even like an unquantifiable amount of time. I mean, it's not even.
It's like outside of time.
Yeah,
it's like a non-temporal
it's not that
future
anymore.
human deity entity. But the idea of the movie, I think, distills down to future humans pulling their past selves into their future by creating this time loop.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I get it.
Just storytelling wise.
Yeah.
And conceptually.
So hit me.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's fair.
Like, I know that they're playing around with the concept of space-time and it being manipulatable.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just a paradox. At this point, it's just not a physics problem. It's just a logic problem.
Yeah.
For me as a viewer, at least, like, it just is unsatisfying because the ending is starting the story that it leads to. It leads to itself. They're like reaching back in time and pulling themselves into the future. But how did they get into that future if they weren't already there to reach back and pull themselves into it? It's just a catch-22. It's like you have the same problem with religious people explaining God. It's like, okay, well, if God created everything, what created God?
Yeah.
A higher God? What created that God?
Maybe even higher ones.
Yeah, there's just like there's a saying in the world of philosophy, it's turtles all the way down. Have you ever heard that phrase?
I've heard Sturgill Simpson say it.
It's a very like pop culture phrase now. But it's like from an old philosopher who was being sarcastic because they were asking for metaphysical answers to questions we don't have access to the answers to about origins of universe, and they were having an argument about God, and he's just saying like there's a culture where they believe that Earth rides on the back of a turtle, right? And he's being sarcastic and he's saying it's just turtles all the way down, aka like we don't have the means to answer the question.
I think as far as like putting it in a human-sized box, if you know what I mean, I think it's a good attempt though. I think it's like a fun. I still think I don't think it really detracts from the movie per se because I'm already suspending my disbelief so much for it.
Sure, it's still like a fun story.
Yeah.
It's just up till that point in the story, everything is coherent and explainable within the science of the universe they're in.
Yeah.
Yet they could have explained it if there was if the they that they were interacting with was actually a they. Like if there's like an alien civilization that's like saving humanity. Yeah. That's like coherent and plausible.
I mean, they technically are an alien civilization. I don't know if he can actually. I also don't know if I just like trust his claim that they're us.
If it's not humans, I believe it.
Okay, I gotcha.
If it's what the filmmakers are presenting it as, it makes no sense. Yeah. And the Nolans can email me if they believe otherwise.
You know the email.
At bootywhiskey@gmail.com. But yeah, I mean, if it was like actually an alien civilization, I could believe that there's like a fifth dimensional species or technology that could use gravity waves to, like I can buy the sci-fi aspects of it. I just can't breach the logic paradox
of like who originally
of the unmoved mover.
Yeah.
who winds the watch?
Yeah. Gotta have faith.
It just
You
becomes
wanna touch my body.
it just becomes faith.
Know that everybody. Yeah.
Faith has its own place in storytelling, but usually not in like hard sci-fi.
That is fair. But when you can't explain anything, you can't explain it, what do humans do?
I think they could have made up a different civilization. Like there's so much cool stuff here with time dilation. Like they're down on that planet, right?
Yeah.
1 hour, 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say, as a small example, you stay there for 20 years. I don't know exactly how many years that turns into on Earth. The math is
a lot.
Yeah, thousands.
Thousands of years, yeah.
Right? So like, say you go down there for 20 years, you come back to Earth, and 2,000 years have passed on Earth. 20 for you. They have like crazy technology that you never could have dreamed up.
Or they're all dead.
Yeah. It wouldn't work in the context of this storyline. But like theoretically, you could have some sort of time dilation explanation for like meeting an advanced society.
Yeah.
Where you basically put yourself with that level of time dilation, you're putting yourself into a functional cryosleep.
Yeah, definitely.
Where some alien civilization could come scoop you up, and essentially you're just like teleporting yourself into the future. Yeah. Maybe there's like a cool way of using that on a large scale. Like they go into cryosleep on their ship on a time dilated surface. So it's like 200 years for them. It's like 10 million years for the rest of the universe.
You need to read Three Body Problem.
I believe it.
Dude, yeah, for sure. This is just, they're explaining the way that you're explaining that you want it to go. That's just how they do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's plausible.
Yes.
Like that scientifically makes sense. You could actually do it. And then you could use that future technology to come back and do something like what we saw in the movie. Maybe I could buy that.
Sure.
But if it's just as shallow as
chicken or the egg.
Right.
Yeah.
We reached into our own past to pull ourselves forward. There's no start point to that. There's no starting point to that story.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just really can't.
That doesn't make you uncomfortable as a viewer? It doesn't leave you unsatisfied as a viewer?
Not that much, but I think it's just because I'm kind of dumb.
No, dude. Simple Simon.
No, I don't know. I just really... Well, for one, I've never really considered that to be a problem. I just kind of took it as it was.
Yep.
But
which I think most people did, and obviously the Nolans.
Yeah. Well, I would just be curious to see, like, I mean, I'm curious to see what the breakdowns are of it. If there's different interpretations through that lens.
Yeah, because it could also just be that we don't have a reliable narrator here. We've got a man who just went into a tesseract.
Yeah.
That much, I think, is supposed to be taken at face value.
Yes, I think so.
But as to who created the tesseract, who created the wormhole,
who they are,
we only have his assumptions to inform the idea that it's humans.
Yeah, and I just like, I mean, especially in that moment of, you know, unbridled humanity for the first time, it just wouldn't surprise me for him to assign it to himself. You know, like why think it's someone else when you could have be so hopeful that humans do that.
So I'm going to take a charitable interpretation for my own like ability to like watching the movie and say that it's not humans. That's my takeaway.
I always kind of thought that. Like the previous 2 times I saw this, I just didn't think it was humans.
So you'd never believed Matt McConaughey's take?
No, not really.
Okay. I always took it at face value and just didn't like it.
Yeah, I just didn't give it too much credence. I was like, yeah, I mean, of course we're going to put humans, you know.
So it's aliens.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Quiet in the back.
First. If the Nolans disagree, they can email me, bootywhiskey@gmail.com.
bootywhiskey@gmail.com.
Thanks. I think the time stuff, again, for me, brings it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But overall, I love this movie.
Solid 9 for me.
Yeah.
Just right hard 9.
I'll give it an 8.5.
Yeah. For Nolan.
Yeah. It's really a great watch.
It is.
Very cool conceptual stuff going on.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're talking visuals,
Yeah. Seriously.
dude, it is an entertaining movie, and we all know that I love those.
It's a big budget, high visual impact movie, up there with like Inception.
Yeah, for sure.
For trippy stuff, high concept.
Yeah, would be a crazy acid watch. I don't know if I would do it.
Yeah, I don't think so. The music would be too much.
Oh, especially at the theater. Oh, God.
Yeah. Powerful movie, great acting. Maybe a little bit much at times, but
Just like a few tiny little rough spots that aren't that rough.
they're not rough. It's just like, depending on who you are, depending on your sensibilities for how hammy you want it to be. If you're more of a pig person, this is a bit too much for you.
Yeah.
If you're more of a
Mandy person.
yeah.
That's what it's about. It's about big, flashy red lights.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
This has been Quiet in the Back.
Shh. Also,
Oh, yeah.
please like us, subscribe to us,
Hit that
ring
bell.
the bell.
Hit that bell. You'll get all these notifications.
Leave us a comment to boost us in the algorithm.
Yeah. Also, tell us what you thought about this movie. Maybe recommend some movies for us to watch.
Yeah, tell us why I'm an idiot and why time travel is real.
Yeah.
And tell us why the time paradox isn't a paradox.
Yeah. Tell me about your time.
Okay, guys, we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah. Later.
Shut up.
Honesty set to 90%, comedy set to 50. We should try to fix the earth, wouldn't that be nifty? NASA said I have to leave to find us a new home. I'll be gone until you're 40, but you'll never be alone. Who's that ghost in your bookshelf? It's me, Matthew McConaughey. Who's gonna pilot this ship to dock? It's he, Matthew McConaughey. Getting lost in time. Matthew McConaughey. Gravity's ghost from the future's glory. I am the time loop that starts the story. Who in this universe can build a tesseract? Esoteric knowledge combines the abstract. I control the gravity of books and sand. I am a five-dimensional Texan man. The future reaches back and starts the past. This plot line makes no goddamn sense. Who's that ghost in your bookshelf?